top students here tonight. And anyway, Brother Roger, you want to come up and lead us in prayer?
Sure.
Think of Stephen tonight. Stephen's supposed to go forward for baptism tonight.
Yeah.
And, yeah. You did want to get baptized. That's the only way you can do it. All right. Pray for him that he'll be brave, be a warrior.
Father, thank you for bringing us all here tonight, and please guide us and direct us as we receive your word so that we understand it and so that we take it into our heart and we take it into our lives and we apply it as we leave here. You know everything about us, all our wants and our needs, our problems and our desires. Please look on those and guide us and direct us on all things. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen. One thing, cal stem is basically the active voice. And Greek verbs or tenses are more moods and modes than they are really tenses in all reality. The call stem in all the old Hebrew grammars is call stem. You'll hear me say it call instead of qual. All of it, the modern grammars are Q-A-L. The old grammars, the old biblical Hebrew grammars, it'll have a K instead of a Q on the front of it. So when you read the old grammars, Davidson, Driver, all of that, they're going to have the call stem as the cal stem. I brought two Hebrew books with me tonight. Now, Brother Abe and Brother Roger, you're my top-notch Hebrew student. Cindy's not here, so we can't put her in the thing. And Julie would be. Remember, pray for Julie also. She's doing all right. She just has a lot of homework. The Hebrew tenses are different than the Greek or any of the other classical languages. Okay? They're different. I brought two Hebrew grammars with me tonight. And by the way, the Davidson Analytical Hebrew Grammar, Analytical Hebrew and Chaldee Lexicon, the first 90 pages of that is grammar. Did you know that? Did you get that yet, brother?
No.
The first 90 pages in Davidson's Analytical Hebrew and Chaldee Lexicon is basically grammar. The first 90 pages, and this is it here. It's red and black today, a little bit smaller, but the page numbers are the same. But the first 90 pages up to here is grammar, all of that. And you will not see qual as it's going to be cal stem, okay? Now, there are, in the first two verses in the Hebrew Bible, Genesis 1 and 1 and Genesis 1 and 2, there are two verbs. The first two verbs in the Hebrew Bible are in what tense? The first two verbs in the Hebrew Bible. Do you have that with you, brother?
No.
Would you come up here and look at this? And I have the Hebrew Bible with me.
Oh.
Okay. Just kind of saunter right up here. Can you read those two verses for me? Can you do that?
Barashit bara Elohim et ha-shamayim ve'et
Haaretz.
Haaretz Haaretz
Uh-huh. Hayetha.
Hayatha Tohu
Vavohu.
Vavoho Vatashek.
Wahoshek.
Vatashek.
Wahoshek. All right. Wahoshek Hamayim.
Right.
All right. Now, Barashith bara. What is that verb there at bara? What is that verb? Tell me, conjugate it for me, would you please?
I can't.
Oh, you can't do that?
No, I can't.
All
do
right.
that.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do for you. Well, I've got you up here. Okay? I want you to come up here. Let's see, I've got it written down here someplace. Page 113. This doesn't conjugate everything. I had to help this is the analytical Hebrew and Chaldee lexicon, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now there's the word, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
All right. What did I write down here?
Third person masculine singular
Perfect.
perfect.
All right. Now the second verb, now that's the first one, that's created. Did God finish creating the earth?
Mm-hmm.
It was done. It wasn't in a process now. It had been completed. Okay? Now, I want you to look at the second verb in the Hebrew Bible, which is on page 184 in this book. (184). And what is that one?
Okay.
I had to write it in because they didn't put it in.
So it's third person singular feminine.
Third person singular feminine, Cal perfect.
Cal perfect.
So the first two verbs in the Hebrew Bible are in what tense?
Already done.
Already finished. Now that's very important when you are looking at creation. The first two verbs in the Hebrew Bible are in the perfect tense. The earth, she was created, and the earth, she became formless and void. Perfect tense. Both of them are completed. Completed action. Okay? Now, let me, there are 7 root verb stems in Hebrew, okay? There are 7 verb stems in Hebrew. And they are the Kal stem, the Niphal stem, N-I-P-H-A-L stem, the P-L stem, P-I-E-L stem, the Pual stem, P-U-A-L, the Hithpael, H-I-T-H, P-A-E-L, the Hiphil, H-I-P-H-I-L, and then the Hophel, H-O-P-H-H-O-P-H-A-L stem. Now we're going to look at it from the word to kill, okay? To kill. Katal, all right? Katal. And in the Kal stem, it is he killed. Now this is very important. He killed. Kal stem is he killed. All right? The Niphil stem, he was killed. Passive voice. All right? The PL stem, he killed brutally and violently. Okay? Do you see the difference in this? The PL stem, remember I keep telling you, it's intense. The Pual stem, he was killed brutally. The Hithpael stem, that's an intensive reflexive. He killed himself. The Hithphil, that's causative active. He caused to kill. And then Hophel, the causative passive, he was caused to kill. That's the way you look at those roots. Now, you got all that down? Was that too much?
No, this is good for me.
Okay, I know that you would love this, Roger. Yeah. I know that you would love this. The simple verb stem is found in the lexicon as Kal stem. That's simple active. Okay? The Niphal is the passive of the Kal stem. Okay? The PL is basically a very active and intensive verb. active and intensive verb stem. The pual is always passive, and it's kind of like middle, okay? Hithpael is reflexive middle voice. These are like modes and moods, see? Hithil is active, and Hophel is passive. Now let's go back over that again. We're looking at the verb to kill. Call stem, he killed. Nephel, he was killed. The PL stem, he killed violently. And the intensive passive puel is he was killed brutally and violently. The intensive reflexive hithpael stem, he killed himself, he turned upon himself. See, that's like direct middle. And the hithel is causative active, he caused to kill. And the hophel, causative passive, he was caused to kill. Now, that probably went over some of your heads, just a little bit. Mm-hmm. But now that's just the stems. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm trying to bring all this out because we got vowel, consecutive, imperfect, vowel, consecutive, perfect. Okay? All of this. Now, this is kind of a little bit of introduction to Hebrew, advanced Hebrew grammar tonight. In SR Driver is always going to call it Nicol stem, not call, but Kyle stem. Okay? SR Driver, I even have a commentary written by SR Driver on the book of Genesis. It's very old. Okay? The Hebrew language is striking contrast to the other classical languages, in which the development of verb is so rich and varied and possesses only two of those modifications which are commonly called tenses. In reality, most Hebrew grammars tell you that Hebrew doesn't have any tenses. It's modes and voices, in a state of incompletion and a state of completion. Okay? There's a future perfect in Hebrew because God is all-knowing, isn't he? So he can state something that has not happened yet, but as if it had happened in the perfect tense. Okay? We have the perfect and we have the imperfect. The kind of action that we have in Hebrew is the order of time and the kind of time. The order of time and the kind of time. There's a distinction between the order of time and the kind of time. In the first place, a particular verbal form may exhibit a given action as prior or subsequent to some date otherwise fixed by the narrative or the syntax of the verse. Okay? We know that in Genesis 1:1, God, according to Isaiah 14, Ezekiel 28, he had already created a material universe in time past. And then he placed persons and individuals and personalities in that creation. And we find out from Genesis 1 and 2, from the second perfect verb in the Hebrew language in the Old Testament, we find out that the earth, she had become formless and void. And what happened to that? Ezekiel 28 and Isaiah 14 tells you what caused that. Something caused it. Okay? And it has related to time, but that time was an eternity past. That's really put your head to spinning, okay? In the first place, a particular verb form may exhibit a given action as prior or subsequent to some date otherwise fixed by the narrative. This is indifference in the order of time, but secondly, an action may be contemplated according to the fancy of the speaker, or according to the particular point which he desires to make prominent, either incipient or continuing or completed action. There you go. Incipient, continuing, or completed action. The speaker may wish to lay stress upon the moment at which it begins and upon the period over which it extends. While consecutive and perfect. Cal stem, while consecutive and perfect. A continuous action in past tense. It happened, but it took a little while for it to take place. God created the heavens and the earth. How long did it take God to create the heavens and the earth? Doesn't tell us, does it? But he might have spent 10 million years doing it. Who knows? All right. How long did it take the devil to tear it up? Maybe 1,000 years? 10,000 years maybe to tear it up? He did a pretty good job. Maybe 2 days, as we know it today. Upon the period over which it extends, upon the fact that it's being finished or done, there are differences in the kind of time. Differences in the kind of time. Thus, for example, and you've got to know Greek and Hebrew and German and everything else to read these books, okay? Epathe and pathe, different in order of date, not in the kind of action that specified. Each alike expresses a continuous action, but the one throws it into the past, aorist tense, okay? The other places it in the present tense. On the other hand, paise and pathane may pases and may pathe differ in kind, not in date. And each the date is equally indeterminate, but the aorist indicates a momentary punctiliar action. Okay? And there's first aorist and second aorist. First aorist is really sharp punctiliar action. Second aorist is a little more durative linear of the punctiliar action. The present one, that is continuous action. Present, indicative, active, while consecutive and perfect are in perfect tense, period, in Hebrew. Now in Hebrew, the tenses mark only differences in kind of time. In Hebrew, the tenses only mark differences in kind of time, not differences in order of time. They do not themselves determine the date at which an action takes place, only indicate its character or kind of action. In Genesis 1:1, God created the heavens and the earth. God had created the heavens and the earth. What does that tell us? That something happened, that it's completed action. It's not in a process. If you read any Hebrew commentary from the Hebrew standpoint in the modern Hebrew, they don't get the time. They missed the boat. It's gone. I mean, they don't understand it at all. Have no idea, no inkling, because their theology will interpret what it says there. But in Hebrew it says, in one of the beginnings, or in beginnings, Barashith. Had created Elohim. Et hashmayim ve'et ha'aretz. It's done. It's been taking place. And then it tells us, we ha'aretz hayata tuhu v'avuhu we hoshep el panei tohum. We know that it became formless and void. All right? Remember, they only indicate its character and kind. In the three phases just mentioned, those namely mentioned incipiency, continuancy, and completion, being respectively the imperfect and the participle and the perfect tense. We have participle, don't we? A participle is a fluid verb that means continuous action. Okay? It's like a gerund in English. Thus, the tenses in Hebrew, at least as regards to what they do not express, are in the innermost nature fundamentally distinct from what is called known in other languages by the same name. Indeed, they might almost more fitly be called moods and modes, as I have said. Certainly the difference between various kinds of time is clearly marked in Greek, but then it exists side by side with a full recognition and expression of the other difference, which in our eyes is a paramount importance regards the kind of time we are most less sensitive, and which nevertheless the Hebrew seems totally to disregard. And this just the novelty with which we are to be so awestruck with the Hebrew languages. The Hebrew language is God's language. It is a language of power. The future perfect. Look upon a future event as something that he may have preferred to speak to as in a perfect state already done. Future perfect. God can do that, can he? Because he is omniscient and he's omnipotent also. The tenses in Isaiah 9 and 5 are identical with those in Genesis 21, 1 through 3. It is only the context which tells us that in one case a series of events in the future and the one in the past is described. It shows God's foreknowledge. Did I help you a little bit tonight? Just a little bit?
Yeah.
A little, just open a door, okay? It opens the door just a little bit. They usually mark the tenses with vowels, which were not there in the original language, okay? But the Hebrew were supposed to know what it said. And I very seldom ever point Hebrew when I write it on the board because it wasn't pointed. I'll only point it for you so you can say it. Because, see, the pointing or the vowels is what helps you to say it. And I remember when, about 20 years ago, I went into Leanne's class one time. She wrote some stuff on the board before she ever pointed it, and I vocalized it. I said what she did. She said, "You wrote that without any pointings." I said, "I don't need it." I know what it's supposed to say. Why? Because I studied the Bible in Hebrew, that's why. Do you have any questions?
I have tons of questions, but I'm ready to just listen.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go now to the 10th chapter of the book of Exodus, We'ele Shemot. The 10th chapter of the book of Exodus. What should we title this class tonight, Brother Roger?
Pharaoh's still having a hard heart.
Yeah, Pharaoh's still having a hard heart now.
And God is showing his power over the gods of the crops.
That's right. All right.
So, I don't know. It's now gone into the whole darkness thing we're studying.
All right. We're going to talk about the Sea of Reeds here for just a moment. Wayahafik, Hadavar, Ruach, Yam, Hazek, Meod, Wiasa, Et, Ha-Arbe, Y-Yich, Hu-Hihu, Yama, Suf, Lo, Nishar, Arbe, Ehad, Bikal, Gebel, Gebul, that is, Mitzrayim.
Jim,
Yes.
where are you at?
I'm in 1019.
Oh, okay.
1019. I'm in 1019. Now let's look and put a little bit together from what we learned tonight with Hebrew tenses, okay? Everybody's on my right side tonight, so I'm looking to the right. The room is going downhill on the right side. It's just weighted down. Wayahafek. And he changed. Look at that. He turned. Third person masculine singular, cal, while consecutive and perfect. What does this tell us, Brother Roger and Brother Abe, you Hebrew scholars? What does this tell us? Third person masculine singular, that's he, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then cal. Cal stem is what? Basically the active voice. All right. And then how about while consecutive imperfect? What does that tell us about it? It means that it's in the active voice, but it's in continuous action. Somewhat. It's not imperfect, but it's while consecutive imperfect.
So it keeps on changing.
It's what I call a secondary imperfect. And he changed, and he continued to change to overturn, to turn, Jehovah. All right, Jehovah. That's Hadavar there. That's the name, or the word. The Ruach, the wind, or the breath of God. Say Ruach. Ruach. See that? That comes all the way from your throat, doesn't it? I was going to bring into that, too. I'm going to look at something here. For a little bit before we go into that, just a little bit more. Now, Roger, you probably already knows this. They might do this in modern Hebrew. I think they do. I'm sure they do. If I can find it real fast. Maybe I will forget about it. As I'm trying to find it in the... All right, this is it. This is what I want. This is very easy. But maybe some of you haven't seen it because I don't bring this out a whole lot in the class because we're supposed to be doing advanced reading and research in Hebrew. And we just kind of jump over a lot of this little stuff. All right? There's dentals, labials, and palatals. They teach you that, brother? No. This is biblical Hebrew. Okay? A dental. Now, I want you to pay attention how you're saying anything. And Dakota and Stephen, I want you to do this too. I want you to say daleth, taleth, daleth. What part of your mouth did you use? No. Say theology. The. Say tau, tau, thou, tau, thou. What did you use? Your tongue and your teeth. That's what you call a dental. Tha. Say tha. Da, da, tha. Da, tha. Da and tha. Da, tha. Dalet, dalet, dalet. All right, daleth and tha. All right, that's what you call a dental. Now I want you to say be, baith, baith. And I want you to say cough. Or pay. All right, pay and bay. What part of your mouth did you use? Lips. That's what you call labials. That's labials. So we talked about dentals. We talked about labials. See if I can talk again. Now let's talk about gimel, and cough, and gimel, cough. What part of your mouth did you use? No. All right, say ik, ka. What did you use? You use your palate and your tooth, and you put your tongue against your palate. All right, your tongue against your palate. So that's what you call a palatal. All right, a palatal. A palatal. That help you just a little bit? See, now we go back here. Now let's go back and look at that a little bit more. Ruach. What's that? What's that? That's your throat or your gutturals, okay? Yam, ma. What did you? Ma. What's a ma? Ma is labials. That's your lips. All right, yam. And then hazek. All right. And he changed Jehovah the wind from the sea. And sea means waters, by the way. It's waters. Sea is a lot of waters. Strong, hazek, strong. Hazek. And meod, exceedingly. And he carried and kept on carrying and lifting. He kept on carrying and lifting the locust. We're talking about the locust here. Et, ha or bay, the locust. And he kept on thrusting them as a unit. He kept on thrusting them as a unit because we have third person masculine senior, Calwell consecutive imperfect here. The suffix is third person masculine senior. He kept on thrusting him, the whole plague or the whole locust as a unit, the whole bunch. The sea of reeds. The sea of reeds. Suf. The sea. Yamah. Reeds. Suf. sea of reeds, and then lo, 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 not. He had lifted the locust one, he had left, that is, not he had left the locust one in all of the boundary of Egypt. He didn't leave one laying there. There wasn't one left. He blew them all away with wind or God's breath. Ruah, either with God's breath or wind. Okay? Exodus 10 and 20. Why hazek? Why hazek? What is that little dot in the middle of the Zion there?
It suggests some force or a doubling.
But what's it called? Do you know what it's called?
A dagesh.
A doggish laney and doggish forte. Doggish
So,
forte and doggish laney. Okay? Doggish forte and doggish laney. Those are the two ones. Let me read that to you in just a moment. The doggish laney is a dot placed in the bosom of 6 letters. The Beth, Gamel, Daleth, Kaf, Pei, and Tau. All right? Which makes it very strong or hard sound. Now, the modern Hebrew just about completely looks over that, don't they? To a certain extent. They only look at the doggish forte. They look at the doggish and they call it a doggish, but there's a doggish laney and a doggish forte. The doggish forte doubles the sound. The doggish laney makes it hard. Like it'll be a gimel will be a gamel, and a gimel real hard, gih and gah. There's a difference between gih and gah, and there's a difference between tha and ta. There's a difference, and that doggish laney is the difference that makes it the hard and the soft sound. And then the doggish forte doubles the sound. It'll make 2. Instead of writing 2 T's or 2 G's or 2 whatever, when you put that doggish forte in the middle of it, it doubles it. Did they teach you that at all?
I'm just starting to learn that.
Okay. All right. So right here we have a doggish what? It doubled it. That's a doggish forte. All right, it's not a doggish laney. A doggish laney turns it into a hard sound. But the doggish forte doubles the sound. So why hazek? Hi, 2 Z's in that word. Why hazek? Ha the bar, et, lov, pero, wilo, shilah, et, b'nai, Yisrael. And he had made strong. Third person man singular, PL. PL stem. What does that mean? Within great violent force. He had made strong Jehovah. Third person masculine singular, PL, while consecutive and perfect. He had made strong and he continued to make strong, violently strong. Jehovah, the heart of Pharaoh. Now he turns on Pharaoh with his own harsh, Pharaoh with his own stubborn will, was making his heart hard. Now God is going to petrify his heart. He's going to help him.
You think heart means thinking?
No, heart is the soul. The soul. The soul of man. In your heart, in your soul is where you think. In your soul is where you live. Say, in Hebrew it is, what? Nephesh. And here it's called law, but it's actually the soul is actually the nephesh. The heart it sometimes takes the place of the soul. Okay? The nephesh. In Greek, it is what? What is soul in Greek? We get our word soul from it, psyche. All right, psyche. He made the heart and kept on making the heart of Pharaoh intensely, violently hard, Pharaoh, and not he had sent away. Look at that. Not he had sent away. Let's look and see how these are. I wish I could get some of these young earth people in this class for just a little while. It might teach them a little something about the Bible. He had sent away Third person masculine singular, PL perfect. Assigned a direct object, the sons of Israel. Not he had done that. He wouldn't do it. Exodus 10:21 now. Wayomer, Hadavar, El Moshe, Neta, Yadika, El Hashemayim, Wihi, Shoshek, Al Eretz, Mitzrayim, Wiyamesh, Shoshek. All right, what was the sky goddess? What was the sky goddess's name? What was the sky goddess's name? You remember, Steve, what's the sky goddess's name? Was her name Nut? Like a nut? N-U-T, that was her name, Nut. He overcome the sky goddess here, all right? And he said and kept on saying, see that now? And he said and kept on saying, do you see how far off that these Hebrew interlinears are, Brother Roger? Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, they don't even get to the place. They're following King James most of the time. That's what they're doing. And he said and kept on saying that Jehovah, Hadavar, are the word. El, unto, preposition page 39. Moshe, which means what? What does Moshe mean, Dakota? Moses. What does Moses mean? Tongue? Stephen, you know what Moses means? How about you, Brother Abe? What does Moses mean? To draw out, or to rescue. They have a group of people that have rescued and saved people's lives from swimming. They call them what? Lifeguards? Well, but they call them the Moshe, don't they? Moshe. The Moses. All right. Unto Moses, stretch out. Masculine senior cowl imperative. Masculine senior cowl imperative. Stretch out. Your hand. It doesn't mean, there's no tense, there's no action in there. Do you see that, Brother Roger? There's no continuous action. Just stretch your hand out. That's all he says. Stretch out. Masculine senior cowl imperative. Stretch your hand out. Your hand. And that's yadika. And that ka on the end of that, that is in the genitive or the case of possession. It's in the genitive case in Greek, and a case of possession or genitive case in Hebrew. In Greek, there is nominative, genitive, oblative, locative, instrumental, dative, accusative, and vocative. That's a big grammar and a big language. But right here, we've got genitive. Your hand upon or unto Hashemayim, the heavens. And he may become, third person masculine singular, Cal Jusive, that he may become. We're going to get in all these, how the verbs are confirmed, and all these other little things. Well, consecutive, bursive, Jusive, and cohortive, and cohortive in meaning, and Jusive in meaning, and Jusive, and we have infinitive in construct, infinitive, absolutes, all of that. Now, I throw that at you a little bit every now and then, but that's, and I try to show you the kind of action. Not so much to cram this grammar down your head or your throat, but to show you the kind of action that it means. And then all of a sudden it's going to turn on, whip, ha-ha. That's infinitive absolute. That's infinitive construct. That's while consecutive and perfect. This is perfect tense. This is imperfect tense. This is future perfect. And he may become darkness. Chashik. Chashik. Say Chashik. Chashik. Now, I didn't put an H in that with that S there, but I should have. You see that? Chashik. Because we have a shin there, don't we? All right, Chashik. We have a CH sound and we have a SH sound. Chashik. Yes.
Shin, does shin represent something? Shin.
What do you mean, brother?
Letter shin.
What does it say in your little...
Shin.
Yeah. It's SH sound.
Yeah.
Sin is a SI sound.
So, what does shin represent? Aleph represents
What does your little thing say that it represents something down there? What does it say?
The teeth will consume or to destroy.
Let me see that, brother. Can you bring that up here to me?
So if it is darkness,
Uh huh.
that's like a destroy.
Uh-huh.
Destroy.
Okay. Oh, this is Sheen. I don't know what they mean by that, brother. I don't know what they mean by that, consume or destroy. That's modern Hebrew. I don't know. The old Hebrew doesn't quite have the sin and shin. All right? All right. See right here, the sin, that's a SH sound. And this in here, the sin, is a SI sound, okay? That's basically what we're talking about. They use different things. Now, in the old Hebrew, what did this represent? You remember? The roots of teeth. The roots of teeth.
Yeah.
The roots of teeth is what it represented. Now, they got down there something else, but the roots of teeth is what it really meant. Now, that's from the old. I'm talking about 2,000 years ago. That's what the Hebrews said about shin and sin. Okay? But one of them has a sh sound, and the other one has a se sound. All right, what's the other S in Hebrew? Samic. What's the other S in Hebrew? Sadhe. But you start it with a tzadhe. Tzadhe. You start it with a dental. Dental. All right? Samic. Samic. Thadhe. All of that. Let's go on a little further. Stretch out your hand unto the heavens, and the heavens he may become. Third person masculine singular Cal Juicy. Darkness. Choshek. Upon the land of Egypt. And he may feel darkness. He may feel the darkness. How many of you have ever been in darkness so dark that you could feel it? It just seems like it just absolutely, you have a panic attack from claustrophobia. The darkness is so strong. People do that. Down in Carlsbad Caverns, they would go down there and they turn the lights off in the bottom of Carlsbad Caverns for a moment. They used to leave them off for a minute, and people died. People would have heart attacks. They would stop breathing, all kinds of stuff. So they would do it only for a second. And it would just, people would scream. Because you could feel the darkness. It's so big, so strong. 10:22. Wayet Moshe et Yadal al Hashemayim Wahi Choshek Afilah Bikal Eretz Mitzrayim Sholeshet Yamim. And he stretched out and kept on stretching out Moses, sign of the direct object, his hand, unto the heavens. And he became, and the heavens he became. He's talking about the heavens as their masculine gender, okay? Third person masculine, singular, cow, while consecutive, imperfect. They became and kept on becoming darkness. Dark gloom. Dark gloom. Afilah. Dark gloom. Jude 6. Someone go to Jude 6 and read me Jude 6 for just a moment. Come right up here and read it. Jude, the 6th verse. There's only one chapter in Jude, so it's not Jude, the 6th chapter, or whatever. It's just Jude 6. Jude 6. Brother Abe, have you got Jude 6? What kind of Bible do you have? Korean, that's good. I want you to bring that Korean Bible up here and read to me Jude 6.
Jude 6?
And then I want you to translate it into English. All right, Jude 6, because it's very big. And then, Roger, we may get you to come up here and do it too. Jude, the 6th chapter. I want to see what it says in Hebrew or in Korean.
6 what?
Jude 6, verse 6.
Verse 6?
There's only one chapter. Jude, Judah. Okay? Get up here, and I know you can read that really well in Korean.
Korean is Judaso.
What is it?
Judaso.
Yudaso.
Judas.
Okay?
Some
You just come right over here till you can talk right into this microphone.
Jude 6, 유다서 6장 또 자기 지위를 지키지 아니하고 자기 처소를 떠난 천사들을 큰 날의 심판까지 영원한 결박으로 흑암에 가두셨으며.
All right, now can you tell me what that said in Korean?
Korean.
Uh-huh.
So the angels couldn't keep their responsibility.
The
or
first
something.
estate.
Yeah.
Isaiah 14, Ezekiel 28.
Yeah, angels.
And Jude and Genesis, the 6th chapter.
Yeah, they left their
abode.
the place.
They left
They
the
left.
jailhouse.
Yeah, until the great judgment.
They escaped. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then what did God do to them?
So God put them in the darkness.
In darkness.
Yeah.
Because they were dark. That's good. Brother Roger, now, could you come up here and read that to me in your translation, which is what? New American Standard or what?
Yes.
What is it?
New American
New American Standard, okay.
And angels who did not keep their own domain, but abandoned their proper abode, he has kept in eternal bonds under darkness for the judgment of the great day.
All right, this is the kind of darkness it is here, real dark darkness. God showed the demons of the gods or the demons of Egypt the previews of coming attractions. The gods of the Egyptians were demons. And every one of those gods had a demon in it. Demon activity. Every little idol in the Catholic Church has demonic power in it. It does. Every Buddha has demonic power in it. It is indwelled by demonic power. That's what draws people to them. It's that drawing power, that demonic power. Okay. And and he stretched out Moses his hand unto the heavens, and he became darkness, gloom, dark gloom, Aphila, Shoshek, Aphila, deep darkness in all the land of Egypt. 3 days. 3 days. 3 days. God likes to use the number 3, doesn't he? How many heavens are there? 3 heavens. How many earths have existed and will exist? The earth that was, the earth that is, and the earth that shall become. Everything's in threes, a trinity of things. How many orders of angels are there at least? 3. How is man made up? He's made up of body, mind, and spirit, isn't he? Our body, soul, and spirit. He's triune, or a trinity. Okay? Exodus 10:23. We're going to have to quit here pretty soon. Lo. All right. Ra. Ra'u, that is. Ish. Et. Achi. Wilo. Gamu. Ish. Mitta. Chakta. Shiloshet. Yamim. Yulikal. B'nai. Yisrael. Haya. Or. Bi mo wa shivotam. Not abrogation. They had seen, third person construct plural, cal perfect, not they had seen each man his brother. They couldn't see each other. And not they had arose See that word, third person construct, plural, cal, perfect. Each man from his place. 3 days. And to all the sons of Israel he had become light in their dwellings. Light he had become in their dwellings. Who do you think was lighting up their dwellings? Jehovah. Jehovah was lighting up their dwellings. Well, we'll call this class a little Hebrew grammar. All right? And it was 19 through 23. That's where it went.
I definitely want the DVD of this class.
Oh, you do?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You want the DVD of this class, huh?
I need to watch it about 6 times to remember what you said.
All right. Well, all right. I'll do that. I hope that you enjoyed the class.
Oh, yeah.
I hope you did, and I hope it enlightens you just a little bit of the Hebrew language. Well, pray for our buddy over there. And pray for me that I can stand up. The Lord give me one more time tonight. I appreciate that. I've been through a lot of sicknesses and things in my life, but evidently it must be necessary. That's all I can say. Maybe God will be glorified in it. I pray. And all of this. But, you know, so many times I should have been dead anyway. I should have died 100 times in my life. All the things that's happened to me, all the terrible accidents, and I'm still up and walking some, crippling today. But I thank the Lord that he gave me one more chance to teach one more class. Not that I'm worthy of it, but that he is worthy of having his word go out one time, because the Lord saved me. I'm a sinner. He saved me. I didn't deserve saving. But he saved me, and he has used me to glorify his word and his name. And I thank God for that. I thank him for that he has used me to do that. Brother Abe, you want to come up here and dismiss us in prayer tonight, brother? Thank you for participating so much tonight, all of you.
Sorry, I'm not a good student or study. Thank you, Lord. You created whole universe perfectly, and you created us, and you gave us life, and you gave us Dr. Phillips and this great class, and we can smell the original language through the Bible. We can touch your heart, and your heart to reveal to us. Please be with us. We need the Holy Spirit. Without you, we cannot live. Please use all of our lives. We want to serve you and use our life to glorify you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I want to just put one other little thing, one other little comment before we turn you loose and go out and do something eternal. I was watching a movie about Audie Murphy, and Bud Betticher was on there, which was a good friend of Audie Murphy's. He used to box with him before he knew who he was. Bud Betticher was a lot bigger, and I had to beat the tar out of him every day. I had to really slug him because he was trying to whoop me. And he was a whole lot of difference between our sizes. And he said, I finally found out who he was. And he said, I fell in love with him. I just fell in love with him. Now, when we use that term today, it's kind of a funny term, you know, when you fall in love. Steve, did you fall in love with Dakota? Yeah. Dakota, did you fall in love with Steve? I remember when you didn't want to fall in love with Steve, but you fell in love with Steve. And Steve is probably somebody else that you might want to fall in love with before. But when Roger came into my class, it took me just a few weeks to fall in love with you, Roger. I love you. Brother Abe, in just a few weeks, I fell in love with you. That's what John says. Love one another. We're supposed to fall in love with each other. All of my students, I fall in love with. When I see their eyes, their souls, see the love of God in their lives and the love for God's Word, that thrills me like I can't tell you. You thrill me. God bless you.